Here's an example of buyer beware. So we've been up and down all over the map today, and if you've got a moving average running on the 15, you're going to be a little upset. And as far as signals go, that's why if you're going to build a 15-minute robot, I think it's got to be a pretty tight entry. But this is where the robot got clobbered. I mean, come on. Now for a human being to draw this breakout pullback, I don't think the robot's going to have the. I guess you could program a robot to just connect the closes. Still looking for that indicator. There's the head and shoulders. Here's the top. So you have a buy limit sitting down here. You may not get filled. But yeah, this thing's painfully marching north. I got cells way up in Disneyland in case we go up there. But for the moment, it's just kind of a little treading water scalpers. Earlier here was the stop hunt here was this extreme. We kept poking up in there repeatedly, taking. If you're selling there on a limit just above here, you're constantly taking a couple pips. Here you just took about 20 pips, right? Figure if you got in there and you got out here and you got in on this 15-minute pivot there, you exited there. Of course, you never made it there. If you had the buy limit there, you didn't get filled. So it's always a balance of how big are you in and for how long are you in. And the bigger you are in, I figure, the shorter the time frame you want to expose yourself to. So if you wanted to make this, say you sold this bottom, anytime you see one of these shallow, almost unrecognizable bottoms, a great place to sell. So you're always looking for that little bent part, right? The little bent part is always going to be your best pivot entry, because it's more of a pivot than this top's a pivot, but it's kind of a smash and grab turnaround point, where this is a pivot is more of a twist. So anytime you see a shallow peak and valley, that's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a ripe price to get back in. I think it's ripe price, ripe and right, I suppose. Of course, break out of this fractal. You can still have a buy stop here, but as you can see, all your buy stops here, they just keep raping you. They just keep bending you over. You're in prison. You're imprisoned by the fact that you want to trade, and this is the 15-minute chart, and it's just nonsense, noise, a mini distribution point, right? Now I think this ride's over. So I scalped a little bounce out of that. Now we could actually go plunging, and that's the wonder of Forex, is that in a way you're never wrong if you're always looking for the in other words, the conventional wisdom of what's going to happen as opposed to what naturally happens. And if you look at the 4-hour, you can see this kind of situation. You got this beautiful trend line you drew. Well, if you're selling the break of that trend line, you're getting trapped down here. And if you're doing it like a channel entry, so if you're going to open your risk up to say 50 pips, it's going to look more like this for your entries. And this way you have a channel envelope as opposed to a strict channel where you only take trades if they're off of the... right. Here's the center point if you're the Andrews pitchfork technique. Now that lets you... let's just copy that. So this is the main part of the pitchfork, and this is your entry window on the 4-hour. And if you zoom out one level, which is pretty extreme, extreme view, another trade wind that's happening on a larger in a larger world. So the daily channel, say that, or this is the weekly channel, right? And then you have the counter trend moves that are always opposite that, amazingly. So it's a very perverse game, right? So I'm barely in. I scalped that little bounce here. I'm slightly long. I definitely want to be getting out if we go up a few pips here, because it's just getting so late in the day and everything's getting kind of just treading water, which is how you would end up getting, say you made money on this big blast up here and you're looking for follow through. So you're trying to get long on stops. You're getting chopped. They keep coming back, and you could lose everything you made on this blast in this chop if you're overly eager to get in. Now, if you think about only putting a buy limit here and a buy limit here at this double top, and this is a deeper, cheaper price, and by the end of the day, this thing could just come down here into Unbelievable. So this is like an order that lasts, I think, 8 hours. And this is about a 6 hour, I think. So here's what's going on inside here. This is a 4 hour kind of retracement iceberg order here. Starts at 40 pips deep. Lasts for 2 hours. So yeah, you get 2 hours out of that. I don't think we're going there in 2 hours, but that's what if the market was really on fire, it could come down into this stuff. But it's just kind of a drift. It looks like a slight drift out of this the rest of the day. Trading day is pretty much over. I mean, since Europe's not really able to play taffy pull with the market up and down, up and down. As far as the range traders go, yeah. In fact, being in here this late in the game, there's not much to fling this thing up. Of course, that's what I said over here. Of course, this was a classic trap here. You got this bottom, this double bottom here, and this bent part here is your, without going to the 5 minute, you know that this is a zigzag here. Well, things get pretty tight up in here. Lower risk trading, certainly. It's okay to be long, I suppose, if you're not looking to make a whole lot of money. It's not like this earlier, and then the people that were selling here were pure geniuses, right? Well, they traded all the way back to here, all the way back to the scene of the crime, so to speak. And here again, another revisit, realizing this is a lot of pips. All these gray horizontals are 10 pips. And, people talk about making 200 pips. Well, what if you bought here and sold there? You just made 200 pips, right? Market's just treading water. You just made 200 pips. Here, it looks like, wow, what happened there? Still waiting to get filled. The 4 hour guy's still got a buy stop. If he's running tight entry, he's got 3 buy stops stacking up. He keeps on notching it up as the volatility decreases. In the 4 hour point of view, what's the 4 hour guy thinking? Well, here's a double top, which is a top from back here. And here's the market makers coming in and re-raping the area. And here's the last known major on the 4 hour turn point. And see how it hits that smushed point? Anytime you see that smush, you really want to, that's actually like this bent here. It's a big deal. We could revisit that. It's going to be a key because it's at least see how it comes back to this. So that's a real pivot. I just watched the guy on pivots, okay, and then he put up a bar chart, and I just had a bail. Couldn't hang. I mean, I thought I could. I really can't try to hang in there. As a floor trader, I give these floor traders a break. They're running pivots from, being on the floor, and they're using percentages. Why use a percentage when the market's giving you the pivot for free, right? Why get out the calculator when all you got to do is draw? You seriously can't connect all the dots in here without making it too messy. You see, bottom becomes a top. Wonderful reversal back into this, but it's this constant yin and yang. Let's zoom out one level. Okay, we're marching out of this hole. Euro's. So I'm slightly long here. Slightly long. Got big sell bank up in here in case the wheels come off to the north side. I definitely want to have an iceberg up in here, up in the nosebleed, because that's the last known big deal price here is this is the next target up for getting hammered is. So I'll sell that and anything above it in case it overshoots the runway, which typically that's all this market does. And then here's the ultimate. Some guy said it was the ultimate situation. Nothing competes with that. Okay, there's a beautiful double top, and this is last known top. That's a lot of pips north. So we could get this panic at the end of the day, coming near the end of the month. All right, so you've only got, okay, this is the last Friday of the month right now. So that's a big deal, right? So let's take a look at the, take a look at that 15-minute chart. I don't know. I never like any trade I'm in. It always looks so fragile. I guess if you know where the market's going, you feel like everybody knows what you know. Yeah, get paranoid, get out. But this late in the day, because that market maker can step in at any moment and offer up a price that's mind-blowing. It'd be like if you were dumping stuff on eBay for like way below what it's worth. Can you imagine? I mean, you've got 100 available Fabergé eggs, right, going for $10 a piece. But that's kind of what you're doing here. We're putting in these orders like this. Okay, those orders just disappeared, and I'm going to put in the next bank. Looking for one last smash and grab. Take out this ATM down here. But really, another way to view this market is an aerial view of say a football game, and they're trying to advance the ball back and forth. I like to look at it sometimes as a like this is the end zone up here. All right, so to get the ball, in a football game, say this is the end zone, right, and this is the 50-yard line, and this is the next end zone. At the 50-yard line, there may be an interception. Say there's an interception at the 80-yard line. So if you're going to do this, say this is 20 yards, right? 40 yards, almost 50, come back, push the ball back. So if you look at it in those terms, an aerial view of a football game, this is the gridiron. This would be the, it could either be, especially about 1,000 pips up there, you're looking at a football field, 10 yards per, right? And, it's funny, they actually in Forex, a yard is a lot of, I think it's like a 10K or something as a yard, big lots. And, or big lots of store, right? But if you're trading really psycho deep, which I am just in closing here because I don't think they're going to fill me on this order bank, but wouldn't it be great if they did? And wouldn't it be great if I wasn't here to babysit this damn drama? Wouldn't that be the best? And that's what I'm building my whole strategy on is these outlying entries and treating it like a damn football game.